The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. The first thing we start with here is Nasdaq, and you can see basically since Monday 6 p.m. you've done nothing. You've basically just consolidated sideways, and then you ultimately broke out around 1 o'clock into power hour to the downside. But really, we kind of just sat here in this overall range, and you can look at something like QQQ to get a better visual. But what you really can see here is that you've really just kind of sat overall flat, despite there being this ongoing war now with Israel, Iran, and it seems like America is going to get involved. I'm not hoping that. I'm not trying to make money off that. I'm just trying to say it seems based off the news that we're going to get involved. And that probably wouldn't be great for the market in the short term. But again, the market is still holding up nevertheless. Again, staying above 527, 526, that is what you want to see. Okay. Now, from that as well, you can go to something like SPY. You can see, again, you're holding up. Nothing really crazy has changed. You're above your previous high. This still looks good. You start breaking back below 595, looking for 586, possibly the 200 SMA. We'll talk more about that as well. Now, going into this week, the remainder of the week especially, is you have number one, tomorrow is your FOMC, your rate decision. It's most likely going to be another pause. Unlikely that you get a cut. You want to see any type of tone, though, from the Fed that they are willing to cut. That's all you really want to hear or see is please just give us some sort of sign that you are willing or you're even closer to that point of having a cut, right? That's what you're looking for there. Again, you've seen mortgage rates they're definitely getting impacted from this as well. As you can see, you go into 30-year mortgage here. You can see the mortgage rates are sitting still near 7% overall. And we've seen there's a direct correlation to, again, what's happening with mortgages, mortgage rates, and the more real estate market ties directly back into the stock market. When it does well, typically the market does well. Again, I don't think there's going to be a real estate crash, but this would definitely help the market overall if we saw rates come down, specifically with the housing market. Okay. Now, again, that's what we're looking for in the biggest points into tomorrow and the remainder of this week. And it's also worth mentioning Thursday, the market will be closed for Juneteenth. Just to give you a heads up for that. I totally kind of forgot, to be totally honest, until like the middle part of today. So, again, those are the main bullet points for today. Now, I will say before I go any further, if you're interested in seeing what we trade, how we trade every single day, the Discord link is down below. You can get more information. Dive into that if you want. You get to see what we trade, what we look for with futures, all of our key levels in between there, what we're looking for the downside, the upside. Again, you break below your level here, below right here, found weakness overnight, set above, But again, you start breaking below what you're looking for there. You go to ES, what you're looking for under 6051 down to 6008, and you are pushing your way down there as we speak. So again, you get that better visual, understanding what we're looking for, why we're looking for in the market. Deep dive every single day. You can also go into profits and see what we're trading there as well. So again, that's there for you. So again, the big trade that we had today, the only trade really that I had on the day was CrowdStrike. I mentioned this on Twitter as well. But again, you got more details what's happening here. They're around $14. End of the day, they ended near $20. Worth mentioning, that's actually late. I didn't even get the updated post near the end of the day. You can actually see those contracts right here. Hit highs of 19.3 from $14. And again, like I said, I mentioned that on Twitter. I recommend following on Twitter to get more updates as well. So again, it's all there. Now, favorite names, favorite stocks, favorite plays heading into the end of the week, tomorrow, etc. Now, what I typically do is I go from each side of the fence, right? I like to go from weak stocks. So if we get downside, what I look for the downside. If I'm going to go for strong stocks. If we get upside, what I'm looking at for the upside, okay? So follow along. Now, we're going to start with weak stocks, okay? And I already have all my levels here, so you can just dive into that if you need to for SPY and Qs. I don't really want to cover that today. I'm just not in the mood. Okay, so for weak stocks, number one, Apple. It's been the weakest of the week. Again, Apple's really simple. If it's below 199.6, it is terrible. That's your previous 2023 high. Again, you're back below it and you're tracking back down near 193. I would assume 193.4 hits tomorrow if we see any more selling like we're seeing right now in the after hours. Important to know that. Another big visual things I'm looking at is Tesla. This was a trade that I mentioned today in Discord. I ended up not taking it, so I'm not going to take credit. I can never take credit on a trade that I don't get in. So again, I mentioned it. Again, you guys can, if you're in Discord, you saw my viewpoint, what I wanted to see there. Again, technicals right here. Like I said, watching Tesla for the break and retest below 322, looking for 316, 317 in a hurry for the downside. As you see there, you got back above, so I just never entered it, and then I was gone after this. I just wasn't watching. You broke, you retested, you dumped down to 315, you ended up pushing down 312. Now, I'm looking at Tesla, honestly, to come down near 309, 308, the 200 SMA. It seems like a perfect retest in my book. A big support near 312. You watch, I think your 100 MA is in here too. So one of the weaker names as well, what I'd be watching there. You've seen semiconductors be like your foundation of the market. I'd be watching NVIDIA here as well. I'm reluctant to say NVIDIA is weak because I don't think it's weak. However, looking at the chart, you got to come to this realization that, in my opinion, you're at this point of you're probably going to get some downside. You've rejected at 145 countless times now. I've mentioned this on Twitter as well. I've been abundantly clear on what we're looking for, why you're looking at it, etc. So important to understand that, so you guys can see as well. But again, if you can actually go into that tweet that I had, I think yesterday, right? You mounted it. I said if we get back below this level, it's really, really weak. And that's where we're at right now. So again, you're getting back below. You rejected there once again today. Now you're pushing back down. You have your gap fill at 142. I'd be looking closer to 141 to 140.76. You're also seeing semis kind of take a little bit of a turnaround. So again, kind of a similar chart to NVIDIA, not really all the way because you've broken above some of your previous levels and you're moving up a little bit better. But SMH kind of rejecting now. I'm pushing back down. Similar gap fill, support down 256, 253. What I look for there. Again, I'm not really weak on the name, but I think the downside scalp makes a lot of sense. It's something that you don't really need to overcomplicate at all. So really what I'm looking at there. Now, there's not a tons of names that I think are really weak, so bear with me. But another name I like here is AVGO. It's rejected off of 251.87. This level is very key. Go to the daily chart, your previous all-time high from 2024. So again, definitely watching that. Below this 248.5, I'm looking down for 242 to 243, possibly 241. I want to be a little conservative. $4 or $5 in AVGO can definitely pay the bills for the day. So again, not getting over aggressive there. Now, as far as strong name stocks that I like for the upside, number one, CrowdStrike. I just mentioned it. I still think CrowdStrike has steam or some gas left in the tank. Again, you made new all-time highs here on the day at 493. The target's been 500. I think that's where you're looking at. What I look for if you haven't already entered this trade or looking at it now is a break back above 491.2. Above that level, you're looking for the breakout back into all-time highs, pushing 500. Ultimately looking at that right there. The next name is Netflix. Netflix is holding up above 216 currently in the after hours, kind of getting the retest. Above 216, I still like this back into the upside. And again, it's worth mentioning that the chart may not look like you are getting a great push on the day, but the fact that you're holding up while the rest of the market is kind of tumbling, getting a bit of a pullback, those are signs of things that you want to see. The one area of the market that we kind of talked about that would get a lot of love from this war, Israel and Iran, and I don't like to view things as a profit, a money-making opportunity of tragedy. But again, it's oil. Crude is still heating up, holding the 200 SMA, trying to break out. If you go here to the daily, you can see the downtrend that you're in. You're trying to break out of this. The names that are going to benefit, Exxon being number one, above 114.76. I'm looking for 419 in a hurry, very much so there. CVX, this is probably my monster name on the list. If it can mount the 200 SMA, you have a gap fill into 155 and then ultimately 165. Monster name, monster potential. I think you definitely got to be watching this name. I couldn't say it enough. One of my favorite names, top of the list here. Really, really strong. Got to be watching it. You can go into West Texas names as well because, again, you have to assume they try to up production if things start to heat up with the oil market. But again, they need to get above the 200 SMA first. Devon, Diamondback Energy. Devon's right at the 200 SMA. So names I'd watch. Exxon, CVX, top of the list, safest names in the short term for me. That's what I'd be looking at and considering, if anything. So, again, make sure that's understood why I'm looking at it, et cetera. So if you have questions, let me know down below. Those are the hottest ones right now. I'm reluctant to go too crazy on too many names and talk about a bunch of names all at once. I never like to be super spread out. I like to be honed in on specific names, why I like them, have a logical reason, execute that plan, move on to the next day. And if you don't get anything to execute on, then you just don't trade for that day. But again, that's my viewpoint. That's what I'm watching. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Again, still really solid overall. It's awesome. We caught the only name to the upside on the day with CrowdStrike. Can't complain whatsoever, but this is what you like to see. Have a good one, traders. I appreciate you. See you next time. Like and subscribe. Do what you got to do.